Hello everyone and welcome to my Hardcore Shaman guide. In this guide I'll talk about the different talent trees I use when I level up, tips and tricks, the best profession and race you can choose, macros and a lot of other things. The Searing Totem is one of your most dangerous abilities as a shaman, because this might accidentally pull another nearby enemy or maybe even a patrol. When it's about to shoot, or even if it gets to shoot at the target, then I would highly recommend you to immediately also spawn a new Searing Totem. By doing something like this, you will also prevent the target from being pulled and maybe also prevent a death. Because you unlock your Searing Totem at low level, then there's one more tip I would highly recommend you to do. As long as you or someone else has more threat than the totem, then it will also not be destroyed. And this will be important as your Searing Totem only has 5 health. Therefore, I also like to protect it with, for example, a Stoneclaw Totem. This will try to taunt all nearby enemies. What we also gotta remember is that you have different kind of spell ranks. So let's say you're for example low on mana and you need to kite away, well then you can always just use a rank 1 Frost Shock. The reason why we will be able to kite for a long time is because of the slow effect, not the damage. So there's no reason to use the highest rank, as this will also require you to spend a lot more mana. This will also give you more time to wait for an important cooldown, maybe even a potion. One thing you can also combine together with this kiting is an Earthbind Totem and a Searing. So if your Frost Shock is resisted, well then your Earthbind will apply a slow. So just make sure to kite around these two totems. One thing that kills many shamans is that they forget that every single spell also requires mana. So they might spend a lot of mana using different things that will not really benefit their escape plan. Instead, what you should do will simply just be to spend your mana casting an Earthbind Totem, maybe a Shock, and your Ghost Wolf. So as you can see in this clip, Earthbind applies a slow to all the targets. This allows me to get some distance, so I can cast my Ghost Wolf without getting interrupted or silenced. Another thing that was also quite useful here was my Stoneclaw Totem, but this only worked because the totem was also able to taunt the enemies. If I had higher threat, then this wouldn't really be a possibility. Another thing I like to do when I need to kite is to make sure I equip a one-hand weapon and a shield as fast as possible. A shield grants you more armor, and more armor equals less physical damage, but also a chance for you to block any incoming attacks. So I guess some of you might also be wondering how I easily swap between my one-hand weapon and shield and my two-hand weapon. All you need to do is to make a new macro where you type /equip and then the name of your one-hand weapon, and in the second line /equip and the name of your shield. And your two-hand weapon you can just drag down to your action bar. All you will need to do now is just to keybind these two things so you don't have to click as you're running away. One spell that is quite underrated as a shaman is Farsight. This is so useful when you either need to level up your character or look for a herb or a vein. So when you use it once, you just click where you would like to see. And now you can press the spell once again to travel even further, allowing you to quickly scout the whole zone. Super time saving, as you don't have to travel around on your mount or for example in Ghost Wolf to find a specific enemy. So when I need to level up, there's two different talent trees that I like to use. The first one, where you mainly spend your points into the enhancement tree, and later on you can either spend the remaining points into elemental or restoration. One of the main reasons why I prefer to level as an enhancement shaman is because you will not need to spend as much time drinking after 1 or 2 monsters. Some of you might also be wondering why I spent the first 5 points into increasing my block. This is because as a shaman, you will be using a fast one-hand weapon and a shield for a long time. I know that you can learn how to use a two-hand axe and a mace at level 20, but this will also require you to get a blue weapon. Else, it will be way better just to use a one-hand weapon and a shield, so you get more armor and also a chance to block any incoming attacks. One thing you also gotta remember is that when you pick this talent, then you will also need to level up your weapon skills. These weapon skills will start at level 1, but an easy way to level up even quicker is to make sure you get a fast two-hand weapon. In the beginning, you will miss your attacks anyway, so it doesn't really matter the damage it does, because you will miss your attacks. Therefore, you will also benefit way more by choosing a fast two-hand weapon. Your second option would be to level as an elemental shaman. So this is where you will be using your lightning bolt, chain lightning and shocks to do ranged damage. After reaching level 40 and unlocking your elemental mastery, then as you continue to level up, you can spend the remaining points into the restoration tree. In the restoration tree, you will reduce the mana cost of your totems, increase their performance, and also increase your critical strike chance of your healing and lightning spells. Alright, so next up is the different profession combinations I like to do when I level up a shaman. The first choice would be to level up mining and engineering, so you can craft different goggles, grenades, but also a target dummy. This target dummy will taunt all nearby enemies, so if you need to make an emergency exit, well then engineering is also super useful. Another thing you could level up would be skinning and leatherworking, so you can craft different leather and mail items that will increase your character's performance as you level up. The third option would be to level up herbalism and alchemy. This allows you to craft different elixirs and potions that will benefit your leveling, and if you need to make an emergency exit and you're either low health or low mana, well then you can always use a healing or mana potion. One thing we gotta remember though, is that auction house will also be available. So if you're going to use the auction house, then you could always just purchase the potions. If so, well then engineering and mining will definitely be better. So the only faction you can play as a shaman is going to be Horde. But you have 3 different options as a Horde, either to play Orc, Troll or Tauren. As an Orc, you get Hardiness, Blood Fury and Egg Specialization. All of these will be super useful if you plan to level up as an enhancement shaman. But as elemental or restoration, these will pretty much also be useless. Therefore, Troll might also be a better option as an elemental or restoration shaman, because you get regeneration, but also berserkering. Berserkering increase your attack and spell casting speed, so this will be useful no matter what specialization you choose. Beast slaying doesn't have a huge impact on your leveling speed, and shouldn't be the main reason why you choose to play a troll. But it is of course also nice to have this if you like to make gold by skinning different beasts. Talking about gold, then there's also many different ways you can save gold as you level up your shaman, so you can afford your mount even faster. One of these things is to skip different spells. So if you for example like to level as an enhancement shaman, and you only kill one target at the same time, well then you can also skip purchasing the chain lightning ability. And also your magma totem, because these two are mainly just for cleaving more targets at the same time. But as a person that would like to level up even faster and not be as careful, well then you shouldn't skip these 2 spells. One spell you should definitely not train is your res ability. It's not going to benefit you much in hardcore, unless you like to dual level together with a hunter. So if the hunter pet dies, then you can also res this, as the hunter can then spend the time sitting down and regening mana. Another spell you should also skip when you're solo level is chain heal. The mana cost and cast time is way too high compared to what you can heal. It's going to be way better as a solo leveler just to use your healing wave or lesser healing wave. But there's honestly so many different things you can do to either save or farm a lot of gold as you level up your character between level 1 to 60. Therefore, I've also made a hardcore gold making guide, and you can find more information about this guide in the description below the video, together with many other links to other useful videos that will help you level up your character in classic hardcore. I wish you the best of luck with your hardcore journey, and as always, thank you so much for watching and have an amazing day. Peace!